inevitable.
Not yet. We have one last card up our sleeve.
Hit him, Black Bolt.
Le pardon et la clémence, oh mon Dieu, les ramènent vers toi. Mon Dieu, les ramène en séjour vers toi. Beautiful.
Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today, let's take a look at the Mezco 1/12 Collective Marvel Black Bolt and Lockjaw. And oh, we've been waiting for this one for a while. Black Bolt is an awesome character, and I love my Mezcos, but I think the draw here for a lot of people is the Lockjaw. Just a plastic dog that looks fairly comic accurate that you can fit into your Marvel Legends if you don't do Mezco, or if you do, you mix and match and put wherever you want. It's always awesome to get a set or a figure that is multi-purpose. It can just do whatever you want it to do. And when it comes to the packaging, besides this being a mammoth box, it's big. It's going to be hard to get all on this camera. But when I opened the shipping box, I was surprised. It's not the usual Mezco, matte black, shiny black, some gold here and there. They may throw a logo here or like a silhouette, but for this box, they went full on old school. The design here just evokes Kirby. You got the classic art. Most of all, you have the crackle all over the place. There on the end, you have Black Bolt. Ooh, some more logos or just saying what's in it. On the other side, again, just that very fantastic looking art from the early days of Marvel. But this is a slipcover and comes off. They've made it all blue. That actually matches my background fairly close. That's the same on the end. That's the same on the other side, except you get Lockjaw's crackle there. On the other end, there's Black Bolt flying. On top, Black Bolt with his wings spread. And then on the bottom, that's where we get our kind of legalese, our logos, warnings. Hey, don't put this thing in your mouth. Let's get this thing open and see what's going on here. Like I said, this is a big old box, so I don't know what to expect when I get this flap open. Oh, well, instructions right off the bat. The usual care guidelines, and then it looks like you remove Lockjaw's head to replace the batteries or turn the light on and off. In fact, I'd forgotten this was a feature. Oh, that's nice. All embedded in foam. That's heavy, too. That's got some heft. That's almost ceramic-like. What is this? All the Black Bolt stuff? Batteries! That's right. For the price of this thing, I better get the batteries. Looks like we get two stand arms. One is for the effect for the Black Bolt scream, and the other one is to hold the figure. As you get to the base, it has a nice Black Bolt type logo. It's shiny. Either have a foot peg option, or you can pop that out, plug the stand in. And then the smaller comes with a little clear base. Then as always, you have the baggie. You can put the accessories in here, write the name on it, throw it in a file cabinet. And starting with Black Bolt, like I said, the main draw is probably Lockjaw for a lot of people, but this Black Bolt is no pushover. The more I mess with it, the more I look at it, the more I love it. Just the overall figure looks so regal. Mezco did a fantastic job of making this bodysuit skin tight. And that on top of the body underneath, well, literally, it's just such a powerful look. Just standing here and you get the head cocked a little bit, there's royalty to it. There are parts that are just elasticy, stretchy cloth, but I love how that is offset by this shiny pleather plastic overlay. It moves along with the body, but it tricks your brain into thinking, oh, little armor plates. And it's especially beautiful on this blue-silver design, the Black Bolt logo. Because while there is harder plastic pieces like the gauntlet, the kneecaps, the boot, it just blends together so well because of the sheen. Hell, even the plastic of the boot has some glossiness and some matte mixed together. And the top of the gauntlet has a blue-silver ring that matches damn close to this overlay. I mean, you can tell the difference when you get right up on it, but away a bit, it just looks like all costume. Not a lot of that on the back, just at the shoulder blades. The rest is mostly cloth until you get to the legs. But here's the other big thing about this costume. These underarm wings that we have seen on Black Bolt since the debut of the character, that's always been the hardest aspect to translate into action figure form for any company. But Mezco, using their cloth, oh man, this is probably the best way to make these. You just raise the arm and shoo. This is what we've always wanted on a Black Bolt. It looks a little rough where it's sewn up when you're looking at it from the back, but from the front, that's pure comic book goodness there. And it's the same up at the head. Sure, it has some mezcofication, just like the rest of the costume aspects on the body. It really makes me think, oh, this is like a metal helmet. There's some armor around the neck. That matches the gauntlets. That matches the boots. And hell, that even matches the overlays on the cloth parts. I usually have a problem with Mezco when it's supposed to be the same material from the tip of the head to the bottom of the feet. But here, again, because it's supposed to have that armored look, it works. The tuning fork on the forehead, the shiny gloss, once you hit it in the light, you can see these grooves and extra details. And then the face. If you didn't know any better, you'd think, oh, that's actual skin. You can see some pores, a little pinkish to the lips, a bit of shading. I love Mezco head sculpts. If I had any complaints at all, because of the tightness of the costume, it is a bit restrictive around the shoulders. You're not going to get much further than there without feeling like it's stretching. You're also going to get to a point where this is going to pull back on you. Like I always say with Mezco, the ankles are a bit limited, but not as bad as usual. At first you think, oh, that's all you get. But if you force it a bit, you can get a fairly nice rock. It's the same forward and back too. At first, just this much, but you can push it. Oh, about right there. So that's not really a complaint. I just thought I'd highlight that. But saying it once again, the draw for a lot of people is Lockjaw. We've seen them at several San Diego's, a Toy Fair or two, and it's always been, oh man, I need this on my shelf. Some form, some fashion, and Mezco didn't disappoint. Just an amazing, wrinkly dog sculpt with fur on top. There's details on here they didn't even have to do, like the paws on the bottom of the feet. I mean, that's just some extra effort there. The overall look, I usually think of Lockjaw as a bit more wrinkly and saggy and more comic book dog-like. Mezco did their thing and brought it more into a lifelike look. And I have no problem with that whatsoever. The eyes is kind of scary when you hit it at certain angles. The piercing blue looks fantastic, and they even glossed up the nose a bit to make it seem wet. At first you think, oh, they just hit it with the shading lines on the low spots, but there's actually more paint apps than you think. It's very subtle. There's some highlights, there's some lowlights, there's some different browns used. Oh man, I love this thing. Who's a good boy? Yes, you're a good boy. They put in some articulation points, but I would have probably traded the abdomen or the torso joint to give us some ankles. Because here you have some nice range of movement forward and back and out, but you can't put the paws flat on the ground unless you have it in straight up and down position. But speaking of articulation, there is a dumbbell joint up at the top of the neck, and then below that is a ball joint. So altogether, you can look a bit up. Like the ankles, at first you think, oh, he doesn't look down much, but if you push, you can get almost burying the chin. Very nice tilt all the way around. Swivel, there is a butterfly joint at the shoulder, and then the shoulder hinges up past 90. Like I talked about, there is a rotation, but you're gonna, well, okay, keep on pushing. Guess we'll get it all the way up. Swivel at the bicep, but as you turn, again, this. I'm not too worried about that. I don't know. There's just something. Oh, it's an extra piece I'm not used to on my action figures. I don't want to break it. There is a double elbow, goes past 90. Swivel at the gauntlet. Then there's also a swivel at the hand that also hinges. Ball joint at the mid-torso and the waist together. You can get some crunch. Some arc back. Tilt. Swivel. In fact, it's all kinds of hula hooping. The hips come all the way up, back some, out. Not completely 90, but better than some action figures I've looked at. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee. Oh man, it's so close. Bing. Talk about the ankle. I believe that is either a ball or a dumbbell joint down there. Go back, forward, and then quite a bit of rocker once you loosen it up. For Lockjaw, there is a dumbbell joint in the head. And that coming off as easy as it does, that'll come into play in a minute. Ball joint going into the head, and then ball joint going into the body. But because of how far it's recessed, you don't get a huge amount of movement. It's more of a shift rather than being able to move it in two positions. Shift down. Well, I wouldn't say down, more like straight forward. And then up. Also not bad side to side. You go too far, you're going to start popping that ball, but you get about right there, about right there. In fact, let's call this the head hula hoop. It goes around. There's also a mid-torso joint, but because of this coming back over it, you don't get much side to side with it. It's mostly up and mostly down. You can bring it up and then shift around and get a little bit more movement, but it's more just... The hind legs are just on a swivel. You can go back, well, how far? Well, all the way around, I guess. Also comes forward to about right there. I get the feeling his tail would be wagging right now. And then on the front legs, there is a ball joint on a peg. So you can bring it out and then rotate it. Does it go all the way around? Yes, it does. And there's even a bit of swivel on it. For accessories, Mr. Blackagar Boltagon comes with a pair of fists. He comes with 2 splayed out flying type hands. He comes with 2 more relaxed hands, and then 2 exerting himself clawed clenched hands. And this is another thing different from most of the Mezcos I've messed with. The hands aren't as soft as usual. It's more of a pop. These, you gotta kind of mess with and get him to pop on. And then besides his neutral face, he also has, well, it's Black Bolt. He needs a screaming head. I really dig the energy coming up off the antenna and then the matching blue in the mouth to kind of signify, oh, there's some power going on here. And popping the head off does remind me more of past Mezcos where there's just a nice satisfying pop, nice easy push goes on. This is a softer material, so I'm not too worried about it, but at points, if you push too hard, you get into that that may pop off. Of course, the same could be said for the antenna on the regular head. And then finally for Black Bolt's accessories, he's got the sound scream effect. Go local football team! Not bad sculpting here, it's just clear, well, it's frosted plastic. And it's a wave effect, like, well, sound wave effect. There you go. There's a hole on bottom that plugs into the stand we talked about earlier. It goes down to a clear disc. Problem I run into a bit is I wish there was another hinge down at the bottom. You try to get it low enough to have it on him when he's standing straight up and down, and the weight is kind of off. It likes to rock around, you gotta kind of mess with it. But it does do what it's supposed to once you get it into position. But the look of it also reminds me of ice, and you may be able to use it in other displays. Lockjaw doesn't get any accessories, but once again, the head pops off fairly easy. There's your battery compartment, and there's your on and off switch. I said it way earlier, I guess I forgot that this had a light up feature, and the promo pics didn't actually show it in use. The tuning fork, or antenna, is a brighter white. In fact, without the thing on, you almost wouldn't know that that is a clear piece of plastic. You turn it on and phew. But I love what it does to the eyes. It gives the whole thing a blue look, but it really brings out the blue of the center of the eye. Let's shut off some lights, see what's going on here. I don't expect the batteries to last a super long time, but for pictures and just showing it off or just playing with it, it's a fun feature. Height-wise, Black Bolt stands at about 6 5/16, while Lockjaw up to his highest point is about 5 inches, and then has a length of about 8 inches. Here he is with his Illuminati teammates, the Mezco 1/12 Collective Iron Man and Doctor Strange. He seems a bit small next to these two, but Iron Man has a lot of armor, Doctor Strange has a lot of cape. But if you're mixing and matching your Mezcos with your Marvel Legends, here he is with the rest of the Illuminati. Slightly big, but still smaller than Namor. I'm good with that. That fits right in. But why would I do that when there's a Marvel Legends Black Bolt? I don't know. I just like the shelf presence of the Mezco better. Plus, Marvel Legends has some things I don't like. And then Medusa doesn't stand up straight unless you have her hair on the ground. These two look together. Or do we need a Mezco 1/12 Collective Medusa? Just think of her with articulated, wired hair strands. For Lockjaw, here he is with the Marvel Legends Thing and Invisible Woman. And I usually picture Lockjaw slightly bigger than this, but it's a big dog with a tuning fork on his head. It works. Here he is with the old Toy Biz MODOK. I haven't pulled this down in a long time. I love this thing. And then the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Jabba the Hutt. So at the end of the day, just a fantastic set. When they first showed it, I knew I wanted it. I knew I needed it. And when it came up for pre-order, there was no hesitation. But then like most Mezcos, I forgot about it until I got the shipping notice and thought, oh, I'm in for a treat. Black Bolt looks good in action poses, but that's not my favorite look for him. I like him just being stoic. He knows he's a badass. He doesn't need to flaunt it. In my display, he's just going to be standing there, just looking, just overseeing everything and knowing that if it came down to it, he could kick everybody's ass. But for Lockjaw, oh man, have we been waiting too long for a plastic representation of the Inhumans dog. With the TV show, I thought for sure we'd get something, but nope, that was a flop. So Mezco comes out of nowhere and gives us our first Lockjaw. But like most Mezcos that are a set or has a light up feature, the price is a bit high here, especially if you're only in it for Lockjaw. Plus, as I'm shooting this and as you're watching this, you can't just go to the Mezco site and buy it. But I couldn't help it. I wanted to get this out of the package. I wanted to take a look at it. I wanted to, and if you have the means to grab this, I totally recommend it. So if you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus if you're interested in seeing videos early or just in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. Marvel Legends also came with a screaming head that also did this. Well, this is more of a bubble effect. I like how tall it is. And again, I like the blue inside the mouth. But overall, even though when I have it in this stance, it looks unmistakably handbookish, I think I'm going to replace it with this. This figure has always just been stiff, and these fly-out wings,